Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm shooting the service video for the Dominar, which by the way really needed a good service because it hasn't been firstly serviced in a year. The bike's not been going out much. I haven't done any long tours or haven't done any weekend rides because of Corona and the lockdown, but really needs a good service. I'm not taking it to Bajaj and I've got it to Motoverse. By the way, they have a beautiful range of engine oils, additives, and pretty much anything you need for the bike. They also have this really good spray, so if you're riding and you really love your bike, there's something called Moto Muck. So basically you kind of pretty much wash the bike down once, hose it down, spray Moto Muck on it, and hose it down again. The bike will be squeaky clean. That's a really good product. And they have a lot of range of your petrol additive, engine oil additives, every single thing to keep the bike in mint condition. So I've been having a few issues with the bike in terms of I think the filters are dirty because every time I accelerate, the bike kind of decelerates and then goes forward. Mileage is considerably dropped. The brakes don't have a lot of bite. My front suspension, I think a lot of Dominar owners have faced this issue. The front suspension has become really hard and stiff. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is the cone bearing set. We're going to be changing the entire cone bearing set because of the issue. So the cone bearing set needs to definitely be changed, is what recommended by Sohail, who's the owner of Motoverse. So we're going to be changing the cone bearing set, and post that we're going to get into every single point of the bike. The diagnosis of the bike has been done completely, and I will take you over every single thing that we're going to be changing while we're servicing the bike, because this is going to go through a complete overhaul. So the entire effort has been done on the cone bearing set, so we've changed that. Fork oil's also been changed, so the entire thing has been rectified. I can't wait to ride it and check it out. So that's been done. So we've got our engine oil, we've got the coolant, we've got all the filters, the cables, the palm grips, literally every single thing is going to be changed, and we're not going to leave anything so that we can really feel the difference in the bike. It doesn't make sense to just service the bike, to just change the oil and the coolant and then ride it. So we're going to be changing every single thing that we feel needs changing, so that'll make a huge difference to the bike. Tank cover is completely taken off right now, and there are 4 vibration absorption pads on this, by the way, and even after that I get a lot of vibration on the tank. So we are going to be fitting we're going to be doing some jugaad to kind of take the vibration off the entire tank, so I don't really get the vibration anymore. So now we're going to be checking everything. The fuel tank has been taken off. So this is the air filter that we've just taken off the air filter cover, and you can see the state of the air filter. मतलब पूरा काले हो चुका है, लाइक काफ़ी ज़्यादा गंदा है ये. क्या बोलते हैं रमज़ान, कभी चेंज हुआ है मतलब इतना गंदा फिल्टर, मतलब मैं सोच भी नहीं सकता. ऑब्वियसली बाइक खींच नहीं रही थी बिकॉज हमारा फिल्टर ही इतना गंदा रखा है. लाइक दिस इज़ द स्टेट ऑफ फिल्टर, बहुत ज़्यादा ही गंदा है. राइट नाउ व्हाट वी आर डूइंग इज़ एक्सेसिंग द थ्रॉटल बॉडी. सो वी गोना सी द स्टेट ऑफ अपना थ्रॉटल बॉडी क्या है. See, we've opened up pretty much the entire bike, so we have a clean place to work in. We're literally going into depth in the bike. So we're checking the wiring, all the wiring, by the way, the auxiliary lights wiring, as you can see. This is a really cheap job that I had got done, and this is not the kind of wiring that should be done on the bike. So the entire wiring will also be changed. Wiring harness for the auxiliary lights, both the auxiliary lights, the wiring harness, and the entire electrical wiring will have to be removed and changed. Even for the handguards, so all the electrical wiring will definitely have to be changed. We have opened up the entire bike. Why? Because we can work in depth, and we didn't really want to not take out something, so we want to reach every point, and we're looking into every single aspect of the wiring, of the mechanicals. It's very hard to open the throttle body, so right now that's what we're doing. We're trying to access the throttle body, and I can't wait to see what the condition of my throttle body is. So right now what we're using is the Worth carburetor and injector cleaning, you see, because we're doing the injector cleaning right now. So we're going to take you through that process of how we do that. So right now we're opening up the hand guards which are there. हमें एक्सीलरेटर केबल डालना है, तो इसलिए ये वाला पार्ट निकालना काफ़ी ज़रूरी है, और हम वैसे भी निकाल रहे हैं बिकॉज ये वाला जो पूरा पार्ट है, द एंटायर हैंड गार्ड, आई एम गोइंग टू बी चेंजिंग इट टू न्यू वन because the suspended one you should never use because of the vibration. So I'm getting a complete full one which kind of gets attached to the handle. So using Bajaj Dominar accessory, this is the accelerator cable that we're putting. So these are the original palm grips that we're putting back onto the bike, the Bajaj palm grips that we have. I'm actually looking forward to riding bike after this service. Never happened before. Normally you go for service, it's just a general service that is done, but this time the kind of in-depth work that is getting done on the bike, I'm actually excited. I'm actually excited to see how it turns out in the end. So right now what we're doing is the fuel filter is what we're changing, and as you can see it's become completely brown. That by the way, this by the way is a new filter that is there, and just look at the difference between the old filter and the new filter. You can stark see the difference. Now we're going to open up and check what is or why it is so dirty. So yeah, now we're going to put on the new fuel filter. Also, I've been facing a lot of issues with the acceleration. When I accelerate the bike, it pulls back and then accelerates, so that can also be attributed to the fuel filter being choked. Next. So basically right now what we're doing is to change the wiring. ये by the way मैंने wiring कराई थी अपनी auxiliary lights की. You can see the condition अभी जो खोल के हमने check किया है. This is the condition of the wire by the way, and this is not really an automotive wire. This is used basically for home appliances and audio appliances, for music system basically. And this is the state of the wire inside. So this completely needs to be changed, and there is a huge wiring mess here. So we're going to sort all of that out. Basically all this mess of this wiring, this blue wire that you can see, which has been taped off with electrical tape, all of this needs to be sorted out right now, and we're going to be changing the entire harness, the entire wire harness for both the lights, the auxiliary lights, the indicator flasher that I have, and for the horn as well, because the wiring for that is also completely gone. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing right now, is to completely open up all the wiring and get that sorted, so we don't have this by the way, as you can see, electrical tape, this is just really bad because this can short, and obviously it can short out the lights and cause a lot of harm on the bike. So that is something that we need to get sorted out right away. So when I got the electrical job done that time, I was looking at getting something done at really cheap, but I went to someone who said they would do a good job, but I didn't have any knowledge about how to get the wiring done for your auxiliary appliances, which could be your horns, your lights, anything else. I didn't know how to get that done, so I ended up getting a job that is pretty substandard, and I can't believe I've been riding all over the country with that fitting, and that could have probably shorted, and it has now. Actually the lights have stopped working. So yeah, whenever you do get your wiring done, you need to get a proper job done. We're going to show you what all we're going to be doing with the wiring, so you know what to get done when you get it done. जब cheap wiring कराते हैं तो इसकी wiring ऐसे होती है. This is not how it's supposed to be. Usually you're supposed to give it a direct connection, which you're going to find out now. But this is what the job was done earlier. This is the state of the wiring up front. As you can see, this is how it's been joined right now, which is pretty sad. And this is how cheap wiring job is done. So you can see it's pretty much just shredded all the way. ये earthing है ना इसलिए. This is how the earthing has been provided. And yeah, we really have a lot to rectify in this bike. This is like a major project that we've undertaken. I can't believe this is how it is. So right now what we're changing is the entire clutch wire. As you can see, this is a brand new one that we're going to be putting in right now. So we've already changed the accelerator cable, and it's made a big difference by the way. It's become really hard. I've not been used to it being so hard, but now that has changed, it becomes really hard. And the next thing is the clutch wire that's going to be changed. What we're doing is also changing the indicators. So as you can see, the indicators, they do have cracks in them. So we are going to be changing it, because after a while then moisture goes in and gets spoiled. So it's Bajaj by the way, it's not too expensive, so we're going to be changing the indicator as well. While this work is happening, we also have the electrical wiring work which is starting. By the way, this is all the earlier crap, absolute bullshit electrical work that we had earlier. Just look at the state of it. This is the state of my wiring that was there in the bike. So it's probably the worst thing. It's got shorter in a few places, it's got burnt out in a few places. This is utter crap, and that's what I had on my bike earlier. These are the new ones. You can see the difference in the clarity. There are no cracks, so that's why we're changing it up. Doing the next thing is to change out the brake pads. These, by the way, are the Brembo brake pads, and these are a lot more different than the stock ones. These are high performance brake pads which you're putting in. So this is the old brake pad that was there, and these are the new brake pads. So you can clearly see the difference. Yeah, you can see the difference between the two. This is completely gussoed, and these are the new brake pads. So we're going to see there's going to be a major difference between what we were using earlier and now. So with high performance brake pads, we're going to be able to make all the difference. These are the Brembo sintered double edge brake pads, and they're obviously different from the OEM ones that we get. The OEM ones are very different. So yes, they're definitely going to make a difference. We're going to be installing these now to the front brake pads. So we're using the Putolene brake cleaner to kind of clean out the entire display. What we're doing is we're making a relay box. So this is basically the relay box which is there, and all the 4 lights. So we have one, the other auxiliary light, किधर है ये वाला light, हमारा horn और ये indicator का. All of them will go into this one relay which we're making, which is how it should ideally be. This right now what we're doing is the heat sleeve that you can see, and we need to completely using a heat gun to kind of melt it around the entire wire. So that is where the joint was made. So the heat sleeve was put around the joint to kind of protect it. Otherwise, if you leave it exposed, it can short. So basically, this is what happens to it after you put the heat to it. It pretty much just shrinks and it wraps itself around the wire. This is the relay that we're putting in for each of the 4 connections that we've given for all the 4 accessories. So each one has its own relay. This is done so that the load isn't there on the battery and on the supply lines. These are the 4 relays. And I can't believe this is how it was supposed to be done all the way. But yeah, now I've learned. So for all those guys who are wondering to get the electrical wiring done, always get it done properly, and this is how you need to get it done. This relay should definitely be used. Like, do not compromise on your wiring at all, because at the end of the day it'll hamper with whatever accessories that you're putting on the bike. So that is my lesson learned hard. The tank is finally back on the bike. Now what we're doing is we're going to be doing the coolant flush. So the first thing that you have to do obviously is take off the cover, and then we're going to see the state of the coolant. What it looks like to me is the coolant looks more like a water mixture, but we're about to find out what is the state of our coolant once we drain it. So we're using the wood radiator flush right now in order to drain out the entire radiator and clean out all the deposits basically which have been stuck inside, which is very important. This definitely has to be done. It makes a huge difference to the performance of the bike. If you don't really do this, obviously it's going to have impact on the other parts of the bike. So we're doing an all-out service, and this is exactly how it should be done. So right now what we're using is the lithium moly engine oil flush. So that's what we're going to be putting into the engine oil. We just did the radiator flush. Now we're going to be putting an engine oil flush as well to clean out everything. So now we're putting our engine oil flush into the engine. Right now what we're doing is the coolant flush. So this is the state of the coolant. It is literally water. I'm sure you can see there's literally no coolant inside, and this is clear. This is clear water. There is no coolant whatsoever in it. So yeah, that's really not good for the engine, and that's what we're going to be changing right now. We're going to be adding coolant onto it. This is literally bloody water which has been put inside. So yeah, that's not good, and I never really checked it myself. Now I know. So this is the state of our engine oil which has just come out. Completely black, definitely needed a change. So this is the oil strainer clean that needs to be done, which also needs a deep, thorough cleaning, which is very, very important. Every single part that is connected should definitely be cleaned. Taken out the rubber bushing, clean the entire thing on inside. That's how it needs to be done. what we're doing is to finally fill in the fresh engine oil, because all the earlier engine oil has been completely drained. So now we're going to be filling in the fresh engine oil, and we're going to be using the Ft.Motoverse 10W60, which is there. So that's the oil we're going to be putting in into the bike. The 40 synthetic oil, so I'm sure it's going to make a huge difference because we've never put synthetic oil into the bike before. What we're using is the additive shooter, again from Ft.Motoverse, and we're going to be adding that to the engine oil as well. Done with the full service of the bike, and now it's time to detail the bike after we've done the engine part, or we've done the mechanical part of the side. Now we got to do the cosmetic side of it. So we're going to be detailing it at, well, that is mine, Crank It Automotive. So we're going to be detailing the entire bike and getting or restoring it back. So yeah, I'm going to show you right now. We haven't really detailed the bike in about 6 to 8 months. So we're going to be polishing out literally everything on the bike. We're going to clean out the chain. We're going to be lubing the chain later. So we're going to clean out everything on the bike. This is a matte finish bike, so we're only going to be using a wax on this. We cannot use a machine on it since it's matte paint. You can't really buff it out. The thing that we're doing is going to be decontamination wash of the bike, and we're going to be detailing the logos and decontaminating that as well.